like, fine. Because I was not again.
You all would like to, as long as you know, still deploy at the same time.
Hey fam, anyone who's comfortable with it, we're gonna go and take a picture inside just to show that we're out here. And it'll be easier to meet up inside, or we can take to the streets. Actually, maybe that makes more sense upon revision. Ignore me. When we get information, I will take a picture if y'all are comfortable with that, okay? We like to show that we're taking the streets popularly. Thank you, sorry. Right, so like, support staff don't make information. It's like important to remember. Oh, Fire Nation, I get it. I get it! I get it! Fire Nation, like, ah! No, I know what she's talking about.
The organizers of the class, they call it
over there. Yeah. So her neighbors.
It's a 10. See, there's a heavy police.
Alright, T-minus 1 minute. Oh, someone pick me. Yeah. And you can wait till you have like a wire thing on your thing. So it's like, yes, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Can you do the test on this?
Yeah, no, of course.
I gotta keep children today. Hey Sarah, you wanna come to me real quick? Right. Oh no. Okay, sorry, we're 20. Yeah. No way, I got what I go for. Yeah, I didn't plan on. I have mine in a car. So that I driving out there tonight. Did I agree to that already? I was planning to get there at 5. Okay, it is officially after 6:30, which means we're doing great time. We're going to start getting just like more information, and we're going to have the banner up front. As many of you who want to help with the banner, it's not that bad, so go for it if you'd like to be there. We will be walking a couple blocks that way. After this car, the streets are ours, alright? And Alright, yep. Anyone who wants to do it can get on it. Awesome. So, because we take COVID really fucking seriously, be aware of your surroundings. Some people might be distancing more than others. Some people might be immunocompromised, and we need to be respectful of all of that. So do your best to spread comfortably. And if anyone needs hand sanitizer, have like a little bit. I got you. But yeah, okay. Is everyone feeling good? Alright, do we all know why we're here? Do we all know how to say his name? Say his name!
Deon Kay!
Say his name!
Deon Kay!
Say his name!
Deon Kay!
Awesome. We're about to march, probably to you-know-who's, up the street. And I want you all to demand that she say his name, that she fire Newsham, and that she either defund or abolish the police. Honestly, I'll take whatever at this point. That's actual change.
Hell yeah!
When I say no justice, you say no sleep. No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
Defund the
Police!
Nice, you guys knew that one. Alright, we feeling good? Whose are these streets?
Our street!
Oh, there's a dog too. Whose streets?
Our street!
Whose streets?
Our street!
Whose streets?
Our street!
Alright, we feeling good? We're doing good. Ready? Ready? Naeem, ready? Alright. Let's go!
Yup.
Say his name!
Deon Kay!
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 No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
Defund the
Police!
Defund the
Police!
No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
Alright. For those of you who may not know, when the streets are ours, we literally mean the streets are ours. This is a busy ass avenue, so the streets are ours, which means we can take them up, but I want you to be cautious about cars coming through, okay? Because we don't really trust them sometimes.
Deon Kay!
Say his name!
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 Deon Kay!
We're going this way, okay? Right? Am I right? Nice! No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
Defund the
Police!
Defund the
Police!
I said no justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
Defund the
Police!
Defund the
Police!
Alright, I'm gonna ask you to be creative and come up with some kind of fire Newsham. And I like nothing more than being yelled at by you all. I said no justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
Defund the
Police!
Defund the
Police!
Defund the
Police!
Defund who?
Police!
Nice! Why are we here today? Because MPD
we not okay with?
Not police! Thank you, Izzy. What do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
we don't get it,
Shut it down!
we don't get it.
Shut it down! What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
what do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
say his name,
Deon Kay!
say his name,
Deon Kay!
say his name,
Deon Kay!
say his name.
Deon Kay!
What do we want?
Justice!
And when do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it.
Shut it down!
You put that down because otherwise they cannot take us. Okay? Just put it down for a second. You look good.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Defund the police! Defund the police! Woo!
No sleep! No sleep!
Police! Police! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Peter Newsham has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Peter Newsham has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Peter Newsham has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Peter Newsham has got to go! No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No sleep!
Defund the!
Police!
Defund the!
Police!
I said defund the!
Police!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
I can see it on the sign.
What do we
She put
want?
it down.
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
fund care,
Not cops!
fund housing,
Not cops!
fund health,
Not cops!
fund housing,
Not cops!
fund transit,
Not cops!
fund schools.
Not cops! Keep going. Keep going, y'all. Here we go. When black lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
When I say no justice, you say no peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. Defund the police. Defund the police. I said no justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. Defund the police. Defund the police. Kind of like the cops know where we're going. That's so weird. Look at that. If it wasn't obvious, we're going to Mayor Bowser's house. We're not a block away. Mayor Bowser can do what? Guess what? He can fire Nation. You feeling good? I'm gonna ask you to make hella noise, alright? I should have told y'all this earlier. When I do this, I mean make noise. When I do this,
One of the conditions of being there.
ready? Let's try this in real quick right here. If I do this, you do what? No justice, no sleep, my friend. No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! Defund the police! Defund the police! I said no justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! I said defund the police! Defund the police! Defund the police! Defund the police! MPD has killed way too many black men! They've killed more than zero! What we're here to demand is that Mayor Bowser fire Peter Newsham! Fire Peter Newsham! Fire Newsham! Fire Newsham! Fire Newsham! Fire Newsham! Oh, I like this one. I said no justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! Defund the police! Defund the police! I said no justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! When black lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand upside down! When black lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand upside down! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! Peter Bowser's neighbors! Good morning!
Sunrise Movement, and they are here, they say, to call on radical change.
I said no justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! I said defund the police! Defund the police! I said no justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! Alright, neighbors, I'm talking to you here. If you're feeling annoyed or mad right now that we are waking you up, do not be mad at us. Be mad at Mayor Bowser and Peter Newsham and the NCD. They are why we are here this morning.
I forgot my pants. Help me.
Fire! 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 Newsham! Fire! Newsham! Fire! Newsham! Fire! Fire! Newsham! Fire! Newsham! Fire! Newsham! Fire! Newsham! Fire! Fire! I said no justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! I said defund the police! Defund the police! I said no justice! No sleep! No justice! No sleep! Defund the police! Defund the police!
Don't forget, MPD works for Mayor Bowser. That's why they're all here right now. They work for him.
I said no justice!
No sleep!
No justice!
No sleep!
How does it go? Okay, good morning. We're here to demand that you fire your Chief Newsham. Anyone in? No. Okay. Fire! Newsham! 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 Say his name! Deon Kay! 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 Why does a man younger than me have to be dead? Why? Who decided that was the vibe? Bowser? I don't know. Mayor Bowser, we're here to demand that you fire Chief Newsham. We could demand a lot of things, and probably I will along the way. Like, for example, you could defund the police. That's just like one off the top of my head. I could take that. Sure. You pick your favorite word.
I don't know, do you want to do storytelling?
We can do storytelling. I just want to be clear about the fact that we are well aware that this is not Southeast DC, and that this is what the outside of an elected official's home looks like in Northwest DC. And I'm not from Southeast. That might be obvious. But what I am is kind of tired of, you know, black people getting murdered. Mayor Bowser putting a majority black front line of cops to fend us off, or to just deal with us. And what I need for the mayor to do is to actually step up to the fact that this keeps happening over and over and over again, and that it's not somewhere far, far away, like the Midwest, but that it's literally downstairs. We've seen this time and fucking time again. The MPD is killing our Southeast neighbors and siblings blindly and without care. I am sick and fucking tired of this, and that's just like me saying I'm sick and fucking tired of it without having experienced the loss of my own here in this country. Which, like, so what? You're sick and tired, LOL, right? Whatever. But how do their families feel? How does this nation fucking heal when we keep doing this? When we keep being fine with this? When your chief says in like a 30-second press conference that you just 13, that's about as much as I got from that press conference. Deon Kay is not gonna be the last one! I fucking know that! You know that! He's not gonna be the last one! Because we keep allowing this to happen, because we keep perpetrating a system where we protect people like Newsham over our kids. And that's something you just gotta stop. So, look, no one's gonna listen to me, right? Y'all aren't gonna listen to Mayor Bowser's not gonna listen to me. But I'm at least gonna make her hear me. Alright? So when I say fire, you say Newsham. Fire! Newsham! 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 Say his name! Deon Kay! 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 Say his name! any kind of story to share or anything that they want to say, it's free, it's yours. Honestly, I was just gonna clarify something about my my experience kind of organizing and doing this shit, and the fact that I just started crying and seeing that as a sign of weakness is the most patriarchal shit I could do to myself. So I just want to be clear that we should be fucking crying. Yeah, and that it's okay that we're fucking crying because it's fucking reasonable. And yeah, just trying to.
Stop the patriarchy! What's up, everybody? How are you all doing today? I think that I don't see the mayor out on her doorstep, even though we've come all the way out here from all parts of D.C., some of us from areas surrounding D.C. She knows what happened last night, and she still hasn't come out to address us. So I think it's about time, Mayor Bowser, for you to wake up. For you to wake up from where you've been the last several months and take responsibility. Last I heard, when somebody commits a crime, when somebody is responsible for murder, at the very least, we expect you to take responsibility. To not see you out on your doorstep the night after you have caused murder to happen, to not see you take responsibility is nothing short of a failure of the duties that you said that you would fulfill as mayor. I think we need to be clear about the fact that this is not an isolated incident, that in 2018 we had 3 murders of young black men in D.C. in short order, one after another, and that because of that, in many ways, Mayor Bowser knew that this was going to happen. And we haven't been asking for you to defund police. We didn't start asking you to do that yesterday. BLM and BYP 100 and Freedom Fighters DC did not start asking you to do that yesterday. They've been asking since May. Many of them have been asking before that. And the reason why is because they knew this was going to happen. When you pump $500 million into a system that racially profiles, that incarcerates people, that puts police in our schools, that puts police next to community centers, that puts police on every block, rather than violence interrupters, rather than mental health professionals, rather than teachers, rather than counselors, rather than basic services that people need, rather than housing, then yeah, what you're going to end up with is incarceration, is punishment, collective punishment against the residents of the city, especially black residents, rather than people receiving the services that they need. When you pump $500 million into giving people guns instead of providing basic services, into punishing your population rather than taking responsibility for your actions, rather than showing up when you've done something wrong, then yes, this is exactly what's going to happen. So just understand, Mayor Bowser, that all of us here hold you directly responsible for this, because we've been asking you to do this for more than 3 months. Many of our allies have been asking you to defund police for several years. So we are here today to ask you to fire Police Chief Newsham, to defund police, as our allies from Black Lives Matter and BYP 100 have been asking you to do for years, and ultimately to set a path forward for abolishing the police. I just want to be clear that we're going to hold you responsible for this for the rest of the time that you are mayor. And when you're up for re-election, if you haven't done anything to substantially defund police, and if you haven't done anything to get rid of Police Chief Newsham, then you won't have to worry about this issue for that much longer, because we're going to make sure that you never win re-election ever again. I'm going to remind people really quick of some really recent history. If y'all don't know, Brandon Todd lives in Ward 4 here too. He lives not too far from here. Turns out he's a guy who doesn't want to defund police. Turns out he's a guy who doesn't want to listen to the demands of BLM and BYP 100 and actually support that. He happened to have a primary challenger earlier this year named Janice Lewis George. If y'all don't know, also I've never seen an elect Brandon Todd sign anywhere except here. If y'all don't know, Janice Lewis George ran on defunding the police, whereas Brandon Todd ran against it. And what did we do when we saw that? We got behind a candidate who's actually supporting what we've been asking for several months, what our Black liberation allies have been asking for several months. We got out in the streets, we canvassed, we made the calls, and ultimately we got rid of Mayor Bowser's handpicked anti-liberation crony Brandon Todd. So that is just a sign of things to come. If you don't defund the police, then you shouldn't bother running for re-election next time it comes around, because we're going to vote for somebody else. We're going to tell all our friends and family to vote for somebody else, and we're going to make sure that you never win public office ever again, and that we actually defund police as our allies have been calling for several years. I want to hand it off now to anybody in the audience, and I think given the circumstances, it will make sense to start with anybody who identifies as Black, Indigenous, or a person of color. But especially if you're African American, given the systemic victimization of the particular population, to share any stories or any experiences that you've had with police or with systems of oppression related to that. We are here to hear your stories, and we're also here to make Mayor Bowser hear your stories, because it's time for her to wake up, get out on her front step, and address the murder that she caused. So all that being said, would anybody like to share a story? Anybody who is from a BIPOC group?
Hello? Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Good morning, neighbors of Muriel Mayor Bowser. I am actually going to address you because I am actually tired of talking to the mayor. I am done talking to Mayor Bowser. My name is Natacia Knapper, and I am an organizer with Stop Police Terror Project. I live in Ward 1, so right up the street, and honestly, I've been in this fight for, it feels like, well, you know, I'm Black in America, so I've been in this fight my entire life, but I've been in this fight here in D.C. for the last decade, and, you know, during the tenure that Mayor Bowser has been in office, it has been clear to me that she does not care about Black lives. She doesn't care about protecting them. She cares about her image. She cares about how she looks to, like, the rest of the country. And I am really tired of her harmful, murderous, performative antics. Woo! It is absolutely disgusting that she painted Black Lives Matter as just sort of like a dishonest solidarity act, while she has been fighting with Black Lives Matter the entire time I have known her to be in office. It's a fucking joke. She sends these officers here to, like, intimidate people from staying away. She's pretty much given permission for these honestly murderous slave catchers to attack my Black brothers, sisters, cousins, and I am over it. I'm over it. I went to Southeast last night. I stood in solidarity with the community. I held the hand of the aunt of this young man that was murdered, this boy, this child who did not get to live his life. They are going to call they are going to call Deon a man. They are going to spin a narrative of all of the reasons why the police had the right to snatch his life away. They had no right to do that. They have no right to do that to any of us. We are not going to put up with it.
the neighbors of Mayor Bowser, you are also not going to get a moment of rest until you also do the work of getting her out of office. Right. We want to see you out in these streets with us. You should be just as angry as we are. As soon as I entered the street, the first house I saw had a Black Lives Matter sign, like, on it. Where are you? Right. Where are you? So you are not going to get any rest either. I am done being polite to all of the complacent, harmful white people that want to gentrify our communities, not hold these people accountable, keep voting in the same politicians pushing the same problematic policies that are killing our people, making excuses for them. We are done with it. You're not going to get any rest until these people are done, until we've defunded the police, until Mayor Newsham, woo, Lord have mercy, until Chief Newsham is out of a job, as well as all these other motherfuckers. Yes. Woo! We're done. We are done. Thanks. Oh, I'm actually going to end this, if it's okay, with a quick call and response. Let's see. I'm going to actually just keep it really simple. Black lives matter! 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 And just the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm passing the mic off to whoever wants it. To the black officers standing out here, I see you. You should be embarrassed about the job that you have. You should be ashamed that a young black boy was murdered yesterday by your people, and you're sitting here protecting the woman that okays this over and over again. I'm embarrassed for you. Woo!
Thank you, Natacia. I'm coming all the way from Ward 1 to Mayor Bowser's house, as we would like everybody to do whenever something like this happens, and before something like this happens, as we've been asking her for months to defund the police. I want to invite anybody else, and again, we can start with BIPOC and Black identifying folks, to share your story about any experiences you've had. All right, I'm going to give the mic to Crystal.
Test. All right.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning, neighbors. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good morning. So I want to make it clear to everyone that, we know this is Sunrise Movement. We know we're not black. We know we're not a majority black organization. We like to call ourselves co-conspirators. We're really actually a climate change organization, and it's been funny these past couple of months calling ourselves a climate change organization when the main issue in the streets is defunding the police. And we know that climate justice is our kind of creed, our focus, because it affects everyone. Every single one of us is going to be affected by the climate crisis. And in the same way, every single one of us is affected by a police state. I'm going to tell kind of a little bit about myself. I'm Chinese. My parents came to the States in the 80s, actually the late 80s. The reason my parents came over, my dad followed my mom here after the Tiananmen Square massacre. Do people know what the Tiananmen Square massacre is? Yeah. So back in China, my parents were escaping a fascist police state as well. My dad was in Beijing the night that it happened, that the massacre occurred. He was missing for 10 hours.
He got shot in the foot. He's had PTSD for the rest of his life. He hasn't been able to learn English properly since coming to the States, and I have not been able to communicate with him very well because of the fascist police state causing trauma to kids and their parents. And then I have to come to the States. They come to the United States. They're like, it's a democracy. The people are free here. We have freedom of speech. The military isn't going to kill you. And then on Juneteenth, or it may have been a couple weeks before, sometime this summer, my mom calls me and she begs me, please don't go outside. Please don't go outside. I heard trumpets calling the military in on DC. I can't believe that I would have to say this to you, coming to the U.S. But please don't go outside. I'm worried for you. Is this the type of country that we've become? Are we a country of freedom?
We've always been this way.
We've always been this way. And it's just now that people like us are waking, people who aren't black and brown, us gentrifiers in DC, it's just now that we're waking up to it. And I'm sorry for that. But we're at a crossroads of history now, and we have to pick a side.
That's right.
And that's something that you have to do, Mayor Bowser. You have to pick a side. And all of you sitting in blue in your uniforms. Are you going to be part of the fascist police state? Or are you going to resign? Are you going to cause trauma to dozens and dozens and hundreds and thousands of citizens of DC and their kids and their kids' kids? Or are you going to resign? We're at a crossroads of history right now, Mayor Bowser. You can't do nothing. You have to pick a side. I heard that Donald Trump is trying to pull federal funding from DC. He's making the choice easy for you. You need to be on our side. Either defund the police or resign. Either step up or step aside. Pick a side, Mayor Bowser, and stay on the right side of history. Thanks, y'all.
We got a quick song for Mayor Bowser here, because as y'all know, there's a very clear dichotomy here. Either she can support defunding police and get rid of this rancid police chief, or she can step aside. So we have a little song called Which Side Are You On? It's super straightforward. We're just going to go through the chorus a couple of times so that she can hear us. Basically, the lines are, which side are you on? Which side are you on? Does it weigh on you at all? And hopefully, if she hasn't woken up yet to the stories of our pain and suffering, and to the story of the family of Deon Kay suffering, now she'll finally wake up. So this is a call and response song, but if you know the words, you can just sing along immediately. Let's give it a go. Are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Does it weigh on you at all?
side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on?
This is the people of the city versus the burial. And we know that when the people rise up, the people win. So we're just here to kindly deliver the message to her. I want to invite anybody else who has a story related to policing or your experiences with the police or your experience in the country's injustice system to come up and share those stories with the mayor here. I'm happy to hand off the mic to anyone, especially BIPOC folks.
I don't think I need a thing. Or I don't mind. Okay.
So I'm a white Washingtonian. I grew up in DC my whole life. So I'm speaking super briefly. It's been extremely powerful to be in the streets this summer. And I just really we all have internalized this super fucked up carceral state, but I do hope that we're fighting for the DC that I grew up in the sense that I grew up in a very unpoliced, very my friends who stayed out past curfew because there's a curfew for kids would be driven home by the police in a very non-punishing way. And I don't believe in the police. I think they should be abolished. But we do when we have community support, that will be great. I just there's different DCs for different people, and I've been aware, but I have been made even more aware this summer, and I'm just so grateful for that. And people need to understand that there's another possible future, because a lot of people already experience that, who don't have to deal with police violence and police terror, white people. So yeah, thank you. This was super just off the cuff, but I just wanted to say that the experiences of white Washingtonians are different and have always been different. And I know there's some people who have bad experiences with police who are even white people, but yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else who wants to make a story or an experience known to Mayor Bowser? Before, I forgot to mention this, but I don't know, I see some new folks joining the crowd, so if you're somebody who identifies as black or as indigenous, we will let you speak first, just because we know that black and indigenous folks are disproportionately affected by policing. Since nobody has, stepped up so far, I'm going to hand it off to Aschina.
Does anyone know? Does anyone know what the police were called before they were called the police?
Slave Patrol.
The Slave Patrol. Does anyone know why the police was created in the South? It was created after black slaves and white indentured servants came together and orchestrated the biggest revolt against plantation owners
and it was hella successful. It was so successful that they created the Slave Patrol. Does anyone know why the police originated in the North?
Catch runaway slaves.
Union Busters! Yes, thank you. Who was it that was right there to maintain slavery?
Police.
The police. Who was it that was right there to maintain Jim Crow?
Police.
Who was it that was right there to fight the civil rights movement?
The police.
This is not a coincidence. We are told that the police is a mechanism to help. It's a social service. But how is it that when a black man is in trouble, there is no one that we can call to help him? Literally this week I was driving down the road in DC and a black homeless man was on the floor. He was obviously in trouble, and instead of calling the police, I called the fire department hoping that they could send an EMS to him. And they laughed at me and they told me to call 911. And they laughed at me and they told me to call 911. This was on Wednesday! Okay. Defund the police, fund social workers. Defund the police, fund housing. Defund the police, fund education.
Yup.
No justice!
No treat!
No justice!
No treat!
Thank you for sharing that, Sheena. I just have like a quick follow-up question, and I think usually we try to ask this to people after they share stories. Based on the story that you just shared, did you ever feel like police were keeping you safe?
Never.
Never! Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe!
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe!
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe!
Defund the police!
Defund the police!
I want to invite up anybody else who's had an experience with policing or with the police to share your perspective and what you've been through as a result of that, or just any experiences that you've had. We would love to hear from you. Yeah, any takers?
I just wanted to say, in the meantime, so what you just said, what you both just said, I'm just going to get really close to you because I like to be like COVID unsafe. No, is that I grew up in Puerto Rico, I should say. And I was never taught to trust the police. Like, you know, I grew up pretty middle class. The wage gap in Puerto Rico is fucking ridiculous. So you're kind of either rich or you're poor, right? You either live off of government subsidies and welfares, like my parents did while they were raising their family, or you're a little bit above that and you go to private school, like I did after my parents went through what they went through. And as a baby, I was so instructed to never call the police, like as a fucking kid. And so I come into the States, I go into fucking Arlington, Virginia, where everyone seems to just be buddies with the cops. Not in our school, but in the school that's majority minority, right? Great. My school just has the friendly Salvadoran, but as my friends would say, Mexican service guy. And the fact that I come here and that people actually have an experience of trusting police, of having some kind of comfort in their communities, of believing that they can dial a number that will actually keep them safe. When I grew up knowing that you should never trust the cops, that you never know which ones are the good ones and the bad ones, that we didn't know whether or not if they come into our house, they would take our shit, or we didn't know if when they approached us about drugs, they were trying to take them away from us or sell them to us. That's the police state I know, and that's the police state that I've never trusted. And this is no fucking different. More than half of male police officers in Puerto Rico have like domestic violence cases against them. More than half. About 46% have, or sorry, there's about 46% of cases that are brought up are like responded to with some kind of like restraining order that is not enforced, because who enforces the restraining order? You go ahead and guess. So many women in Puerto Rico have been killed at the hands of police, many of whom are their partners. And that's no different than the black men and the black women and the black people being killed in this nation and in this fucking city. We have the highest number of incarcerated folks in this city than any other. And we're tiny. Like, people come to DC because it's a small city. I lived in LA for 4 years. That's not a small city. It's a quite diverse city, and still we have more people incarcerated like that. Even in the police state kind of like sense, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me, yeah? So this is not a fight that like just starts here, that's unique to DC, that Mayor Bowser can deal with by firing the, like maybe even firing, she actually has protected all of them, but firing maybe like the one police officer who fired one shot. They say that's one shot as if it's not a big deal. That one shot killed Deon. I don't care. Well, I mean, I do care. But I don't care if it's 1 or 10 shots. Y'all are killing our people. Y'all are killing your neighbors. Y'all are killing black people. Mayor Bowser is backing Peter Newsham. She's protecting him, right? Always has. In fact, the Council of DC, we went to their doors about a month or 2 ago. They would not ask Peter Newsham to resign either. DC is led by about a dozen people with power. A dozen people with power to fire Newsham. A dozen people to take away $500 million funding for MPD. I still don't understand why they need hundreds of thousands in unmarked vehicles for 2021. I still don't get it. We don't need you. You don't need this job. You need a job. I'm with you. Let's fucking do it. Let's make good, clean jobs.